If you're comfortable, gently close your eyes. Get things out of your lap and allow your feet to be firmly on the floor as we begin settling into this perfect time and space where we become fully present here in this now moment, body, mind, spirit. Just allow the breath coming in and going out deeply, calmingly. Feel your body relaxing, shoulders coming off those earlobes. As we sit together this day in acceptance of our divine inheritance, we open ourselves to all the good that inheritance brings us. So as you're breathing in and you see that breath coming in and out of your heart space, breathe in and know the presence and the power of God that you are right here, right now. And breathe out anything that no longer serves, that is not your highest and best. Because you are part of something much greater. You see, you are not your body, you are not your emotions, you are spirit. You are divinely connected with all that is, that God mind that expresses through you as the child of God that you came here to be, with this magnificent inheritance of peace and love and joy and all good that you can possibly imagine is part of your inheritance. Allow your heart, as you're breathing in, see that breath going in and out of your heart space, and allow your heart to open and receive and remember these gifts that are already yours. This is your birthright. It is woven into the fabric of who you are and who you came here to be and express as. Let these blessings fill your heart, fill your mind, fill your soul, knowing that they are yours as you claim them always. Never any separation except in our own minds. Can never be separate from the God of your beingness. And so we breathe in, God is, and we breathe out, I am. I am, God is. We are God in expression. And we claim this birthright. The more you accept this divine inheritance, the more you align with the true nature of your being. So as you breathe in and you receive these gifts, you breathe out any resistance to that knowing of your true higher self. I invite you now, if you're ready to claim that which is already yours, if you're ready to incorporate this knowledge of who you really are into your beingness, I invite you to repeat these words to yourself after me. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I am here to serve. I am free. I am free. I am free. Now take a few moments in the silence and incorporate these words and feel the peace that comes over you from accepting these divine gifts in the silence. May you experience the peace that passes understanding when you stand in the truth of your beingness, claim your birthright, and know the presence and the power of God that you are right here, right now, in this moment, as God in expression. May you feel that. And for this, we are so grateful. Whenever you're ready, just open your beautiful eyes. My second Unity minister was also a wise woman. I'd already told you about Mary Catherine McDougall in my very first Unity church, but my second Unity minister was Reverend Lenore Scott. Now, Reverend Lenore was the pioneer. She and her husband Ron are the ones that started that big church that Reverend Eileen and Kathy and Miriam and some others were a part of. Kay Ellen, it's on Zoom today. We were all part of this magnificent church. Well, the first time my husband Ray got sick was in 2000, and he was sick for like 5 years. And at the point at which the medical community had given up on him, I began in desperation to carry him to every single possible healing opportunity that I could find. Anybody that ever told me about anything that could be a possibility for him, I drug him there and tried to fix him because I wanted him to stay with me. And then Reverend Lenore said to me one day, she said, "Well, Donna, what if it's his sole purpose to leave the earthly plane?" Oh, my God. I'm like, ooh, I've been hanging on selfishly, trying to fix someone who may be on their way out. Maybe their work is done, right? And I started to feel really selfish, and then I started to feel bad. And then I realized what she was talking about, and the word that I use so much here because it meant so much to me was I was here to witness his journey. I was not here to fix him, to make him go to all these various healers. I was here to witness his healing journey. We are not here to do anything for anybody else. We are only here for our highest and best. And it was such a lesson to me because guess what? Y'all, many of you know how this story unfolded, because the minute that I gave up that struggle and I accepted that he was a child of God and he would work this out and things would be the way they were, he had a miraculous healing of stage 4 cancer. and lived for 16 more years. And at the end of that 2005, when he got well, he said, I'm still here, Donna, because there's something that you have to do, and I have to be here to help you. 10 years later, I got the call to come here. Hello, the call's coming. Hello, God. Florida, you want me to go to Florida? Are you kidding me? We're Texans. We don't know anything about Florida. 10 years later, he helped me get here. I could never have done that by myself, move across country. So you see, everything is always unfolding for the highest and best, and our journey becomes so much easier when we understand the power of acceptance and become a witness to those in our families, our children, all of those things that we want to try to make better, right? Acceptance. So I'm very happy about this theme. Let's say it together. I am blessed. I am blessed beyond measure. So this whole month we're going to be looking at this, analyzing it, talking about it, experiencing it. I don't know about you. How many of you feel really blessed? Look at that. Okay, that's why we're in unity. Yep. We know we're incredibly blessed. I feel it every day in some form or fashion, how incredibly blessed I am in my life for all the good that's unfolding. And all of it really depends on our attitude and our perceptions, doesn't it? We can see it as good or we cannot see it as good. So this is the deal. You know, life is going to be changing all the time, right? All the time. And we're seeing so much change in our world and in our country, right? So the idea is that we need to cultivate this ability to truly accept that which is unfolding in our lives, to truly accept it and not resist it, and actually come to embrace it like, bring it on, let me see what you got, right? Because we have tools, people. We have tools in our spiritual toolbox that we can pull out that remind us of who we are. We have spiritual tools that ground us and center us and help us to remember who we are and how precious and special and magnificent and powerful we are, right? So not that long ago, if you can remember back to fall, Deepak Chopra, we studied in our small group. We had a very successful small group study in the fall for our Adventures in Faith, the 7 spiritual laws of success. Well, in that study, law number 4 is relative to today because Deepak said, this whole chapter he was talking about how we need to receive with open arms what happens to us, because if we fight it, if we resist it, we are generating a lot of turbulence in our minds. He called it the law of least effort. Do you remember? We become our own worst enemies because we resist that which is trying to come into our lives to teach us something. Like in my opening story about feeling like I could be in charge of somebody else's health. You know, we take our personal will and we try to force it on other people because we love them and we want them, you know, to succeed and to do well. But what we don't realize is that's none of our business. We are here to witness. So we all get in our own way with our own personal will instead of the ease of allowing life to just unfold the way it's supposed to for us. Because it's always better than what we imagined in our human minds anyway, right? I know you know this. So we have the perfect example, Jesus, our way shower. We have the perfect example for how acceptance is a blessing simply by looking at how he accepted his own human reality. It's hard for people to understand that he knew what was going to happen. He knew he was going to be persecuted. He knew he was going to be crucified. And yet, what did he do? He told the disciples, "Get up. We got to go. We got to go." Face the music. He knew what was coming. He knew that that was important, that he had to walk that path that we're going to talk about Palm Sunday, next Sunday. He even didn't get upset when Judas betrayed him, because why? He was in a state of acceptance, you see. He already knew what was going to happen, and he knew that it was his life's purpose to prove eternal life, right? To prove that we are eternal beings. And remember how the disciples wanted to fight? Every single one of the four Gospels has a rendition of how the disciples were like, "We got to fight this. We got to, And he's like, "No, we can't have any fighting. We can't have any violence. We're going to go and do this thing," right? This is what we're here to do. And it's the same with us. It's the exact same with us. Sometimes these excruciating things come into our lives that feel like they're going to do us in, right? Things come. But you know that that is the greatest learning that you receive when these things come. We have to walk through this for some reason. These excruciating things may be the only reason you came into this incarnation, for that particular lesson, or to witness that particular one, you see. We don't really know that. But we have to allow whatever that is to come in and through us. Because we are both students and we are both teachers. We're all of that. We're here to teach other people, and we're here to learn from others as well. So we just look at that legacy that Jesus left us about acceptance. So I take you to the scriptures today. We're in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. "But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own people, in order that you may proclaim the mighty acts of him who called you out of darkness into the marvelous light." We're all being called, aren't we? We're witnessing unbelievable things. We are all called. In Jesus' ministry, he foretold to the disciples that they would experience persecution, that they would have to walk through tough times. And in this chapter of Peter, converts were also to remember that they had an important mission to fulfill. They too. For this purpose, they had been given, richly endowed by God, everything that they needed for this special revelation. And even in the face of persecution, we have to fulfill our mission as well. Believe me when I tell you, we are the ones the world is waiting for. We are the ones. We're here. We chose this time to do this mighty work, and the world needs us to shine our light, to be in that truth of knowing who we are. You have everything you need. This is what the scripture is about. You have everything you need to do what you need to do in this incarnation. You came in with it. You came in with it. You knew before what it was that you were here to do. And so the question is, how are we being called to serve? What is it that is ours to do? Well, It's part of our mission and vision statement. We're here to grow spiritually. That's why we came here. And anything that comes to you anytime in your life, be the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is, it's here for a reason. And you can have a choice. You can accept it or you can resist it. Do you want to suffer or do you want to move through and become a greater part of who you are? Eric Butterworth, in that wonderful book, In the Flow of Life, he says the experiences of today are simply grade levels in the ongoing process of life. He calls it world school. We are not here to fail. We are here to pass. No matter how happy or fulfilling the present moment is, and we want to hang on to that experience, you can't keep it any more than you can keep the tides of the sea held back. Today's good is for today, not for tomorrow. It's not part of yesterday. It's here for today to be experienced and then let go of. Because everything is transient. Everything. So this is a continuing process of the flow of life. He tells a story in that same chapter in the flow of life about a prisoner who broke the law, went to jail for 5 years, and when he got placed into the prison, he was so scared, and he was so filled with self-pity. He wasn't, speaking to anybody. He was just like, so this person, this trustee that worked in the prison came up to him one day and said, you can make this good or not. I'm going to find his exact words. He said, you're not hurting anyone but yourself with these attitudes you're displaying. It's as silly as beating your head up against the prison wall. Take advantage of this time and the opportunities, and your term here can be as useful as a college education. No matter what you're given, you have a choice to see the good and get as much out of it as you possibly can, right? Such a wise person. Emmett Fox says the only real misfortune, the only real tragedy comes when we suffer without learning the lesson. And if we're suffering, who's doing it to us? Exactly. So this past Thursday in Grant's class, we were having a discussion about these 3 major issues or behaviors that keep us from our good. The top first one is resistance. The second one is judgment, and the last one is attachment. These are the 3 evils for how we don't move into acceptance and do that which is really ours to do, to learn the lessons that we came here to learn. If you think about it, all 3 of these are ways to stop the flow of life that Butterworth is talking about. All 3 prohibit acceptance, and therefore, that's what causes our suffering. So I want to tell you, I have witnessed, in the 10 years I've been here now, many of you moving from that place of fear into acceptance. It's a beautiful thing to witness. The initial diagnosis, the child that makes a crazy decision, right? The breakup of a relationship. And then, voila, this magnificent person comes into your life. I have seen all of that. I have seen many of you move with ease and grace by moving into acceptance and not suffering, not causing your own suffering. Because when you moved into acceptance, the blessings came. Life became easier. You realized that you were blessed, and you felt peace and comfort in acceptance that you didn't feel when your mind was fighting against it, when your personal will was unhappy, when you were telling the story over and over again about how someone done you wrong. Co-founder Charles Fillmore says in his book, Keep a True Lent, God is spirit. God is not a sleight of hand performer who makes full-grown animals instantly. That's not who God is. God gives himself to man, and we have the power to make ourselves what we will. Freedom of will is man's inheritance, and he can use that freedom to build or destroy as he so determines. It's all up to you. Freedom of will is man's inheritance. Oh, I already said that. Jesus claimed that all authority was given to him in heaven and earth. What Jesus had, we have that same potentiality, don't we? He told us that we did. He learned how to develop his power and was the great example for all of us. We can attain that same unity, Fillmore says, with the Father mind that he attained. And get this is my favorite sentence of the whole sermon. If suffering humanity could appreciate the importance of this stupendous invitation and accept it, the world and its people would soon be transformed. If everybody knew they were God in expression and treated everyone like Jesus taught us to treat people, wouldn't our world be a better place? I see lots of heads nodding. Yes, of course it would. Of course it would. So speaking of transformation, only 1 week into the Keys, and I am seeing my classmates doubling down and doing extra volunteer work and doing this and that and the other. In 1 week, I'm seeing transformation. I cannot wait to see on the other side of those 7 weeks the magnificence that's going to be created from these people willing to do the work. Because it is work. To be spiritual beings in this present day and time, we need all the tools in our toolbox we can possibly have. And these 7 keys are part of it. So I'm reading this book called The Joy Diet. It's by Martha Beck, the same lady that we're studying on Wednesday mornings. And she says there's this amazing chapter in there called Truth. Just called Truth. She says many of us get stuck. Now, I know none of this is not describing any of you. Many of us get stuck in a mental zone that offers virtually no access to genuine experience. She says we hide from the truth. Human beings are able to bury unpleasant, frightening, and forbidden truths in our subconscious mind so effectively that our conscious mind literally doesn't know what we know or feel what we feel. We're good barriers, right? Because we are so blind to the things that we don't want to see, sometimes other people spot it in us before we realize what we're doing. Isn't that interesting, right? She suggests that we ask ourselves a series of questions like, what am I feeling? Right here in this moment, what am I feeling? What hurts? What is the painful story that I'm telling? Eventually, as you explore, those memories will come up and you will have an insight as to what is going on. Well, Martha explains this branch of psychology has a name. It's called ACT. And that's short for acceptance and commitment theory. Never heard of it before. It was brand new to me. ACT. Get this. They describe clean pain and dirty pain. Are you curious? Yeah. Okay, so clean pain, they refer to the suffering that comes from the story we tell. So the clean pain it comes from when we suffer an actual loss, like a death in the family and that sort of thing, or an illness. That's clean pain. The dirty pain is caused by what we think about these events, the stories that we make up about these events, those little things we tell in our head that involve no injury at all, have nothing to do with anything. And this is the interesting thing. The typical human, the dirty pain outweighs the clean pain by magnitudes. In other words, most of your pain comes not from reality, but from stories about reality that you've made up in your own head. So is that the truth? What we think of as truth is actually an elaborate and deliberate fiction composed in our own minds. And why this is important to do the work, it's so important that we do work like Byron Katie, where she asks these inquiries of ourselves. Is this really true? This thought that I have, is this really true? She does that work, as does Martha Beck, this intense inquiry about the real truth. So this is what Emily Cady says. We know the real truth, the absolute of God. She says, withdraw yourself bodily and mentally from the outside world. Go into your room, shut the door, the closet of your being, the innermost part of yourself, and turn your thoughts within. Your greatest work will be done in your own God-appointed channel. And you will have the highest will done in you from that. The secret place of the Most High, right? Accept your divine beingness because it is the ultimate blessing in your life. All right, enough preaching. Time for a joke. So this guy walks into a bar. He has a little dog with him, and the bartender says, get that dog out of here. You can't bring a dog into the bar. And he said, oh, but this is just not any dog. This dog plays the piano. And he said, if that dog can play the piano, you get a free drink on the house. So the dog goes over, and he starts playing ragtime, and everybody's having a wonderful time. They're singing along. He's just playing up a storm. And then this bigger dog walks in, grabs it by the scruff of the neck, carries that little dog right out of the bar. And the bartender said, what is that? What's going on? And the guy said, that's his mom. She wanted him to be a doctor. Did you like it? It was kind of cute. So I want to close today. This, if you don't have Mornings with Myrtle, we have a few copies left. This is an absolute beautiful, beautiful booklet. Day 24, this is about Principle 3 and Principle 4. So take in the words, the truth of our being, Myrtle says. When we are praying daily and when others are praying for us, we have a very decided part. We are to cease worrying and being anxious and thinking and speaking of the past and of the apparent lack and idleness. We are to concentrate all our attention upon the truth of God and the truth of our own being, upon the very things we would see taking place in our lives. And that's the way it truly is. Thank you, and God bless you. All right, now is the time that we get to give from our good into this beautiful community, and however that comes in, whether it's through Breeze, Link, or checks, or automatically, whatever you do, we are very, very grateful for the ways in which you share your good with us. So let's bless our gifts together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so.